Audition comes with an excellent collection of built-in graphic equalizers and equalizer-based effects that let you filter your audio to emphasize or de-emphasize various frequencies across your recordings. EQs allow you to get fine-grained control over a very specific range of frequencies. You can boost the low levels to get more bass, or cut the high end back if your recording sounds too trebly. EQ effects are often also referred to as filters because they filter specific frequencies relative to the rest of the signal. Let's take a look at some examples. I've opened up the file Sing Real Loud, which we've seen already in this chapter. Let's give it a listen again.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real soft. Sometimes you hear my voice, at times I trail right off.
Now earlier we talked about how to use compression to compensate for the wide dynamic range in this recording. But another issue here is one of sibilance. Sibilance is the overly harsh sound that sometimes is created when someone speaks or says words with the letter S, and to a lesser extent the SH and CH sounds. You can hear a lot of S sounds in this recording every time the singer says sometimes, sing, soft, and so on. Listen again.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real soft. Sometimes you hear my voice, at times I trail right off.
Now, of course, S sounds are required in order to properly speak and sing words, but you can reduce their harshness by filtering out some of the frequencies that cause sibilance. This is called de-essing, and you'll actually find an automatic de-esser under the Favorites menu, right here. But I'd like to show you how to do this more manually, because while the automatic de-esser does an okay job, it targets a general frequency range where most people tend to say their S's. But being able to manually target individual speakers can often get you better results. So I'll go to the Effects menu, Filter and EQ, and here you'll find a couple different types of EQs. You're probably most familiar with the graphic EQ like this. Here in Audition you have a 10-band EQ, a 20-band EQ, and a 30-band EQ. Obviously the 30-band EQ gives you the most control over specific frequencies, but it might not always be necessary to adjust your frequencies with that much control. For some projects you might find that switching to the 10 or the 20-band EQ works better. And it may in fact let you EQ your file more quickly. But they each work the same way. You just drag these sliders up and down. Each slider is like a volume control for just that frequency. So for example, if I were trying to get more punch out of a snare drum, in fact, I've got snare drum still open back here. And let me just play this for a second. So that snare drum sounds okay, but it doesn't have a lot of punch. Simply increasing its volume isn't going to increase the snap of the snare drum, just its amplitude. So I'll open up that graphic EQ. We'll go with the 20 band again. So to get more punch out of the drum, I probably need to increase the level of the frequencies in about the 3 to 5K range. Let me go ahead and play this, and I'll exaggerate it a bit so you can hear the difference. So there's the extreme there. If I drag those down, you'll see how it robs the snare of pretty much any punch. Let's try something like this. And now that has a little bit more punch. So that's an example of how to use a graphic EQ to filter specific frequencies to emphasize them more. Okay, let's switch back to the Sing Real Loud file. So in this case, I have those sibilant S sounds that I want to de-emphasize. I'm just going to highlight this first phrase so we can work on that one.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud.
And I have the 20-band graphic EQ open. Now again, sibilance is different for every person, but you can pretty safely start by pulling down the frequencies around the 5 to 8K range. Notice if I boost these frequencies, and if you're wearing headphones or have your speakers turned up loud right now, you might want to turn them down. You'll hear that the S sounds get much harsher.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud.
I'll just pause that for a moment, and I'm just going to return this to the default flat setting. So I'm going to drag those both down a little bit while previewing.
Sometimes I sing real loud, 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 sometimes I sing real loud.
And I can toggle the preview on and off to hear the difference.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud.
So the S's to me aren't quite as sibilant anymore. I'm going to go ahead and close that without applying the effect. Now another built-in tool you can use is the FFT filter. again found under Filter and EQ, FFT. FFT stands for Fast Fourier Transform, not that you need to know that, but it's the algorithm this filter uses to adjust frequencies. Unlike a graphic EQ, this filter lets you drag this blue line, kind of like a rubber band, to increase and decrease frequencies relative to each other. So dragging down a frequency also slightly drags down those around it, and vice versa. And that might give your audio a more natural sound than the graphic EQ. And you can click to add additional points to the line. But also notice that the FFT filter, like many of the other filters, comes with some presets designed to handle various issues or to apply an effect. For example, the telephone receiver drops all the low and high frequencies, giving a result that sounds like it's coming from a telephone receiver. And you'll also find a de-esser here. Now this places a small dip that reduces the frequencies where most sibilant problems occur.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud.
Now if you're not happy with the results, you're still free to use this just as a starting point and drag any of these other handles around, or you can create more points on your own. Maybe I want to drag the bottom of this curve down a little bit more for more reduction.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud.
You can hear the difference there.
Sometimes I sing real loud, sometimes I sing real loud.
And I think that cuts down some of the harshness of the S sounds there. I can go ahead and apply that. So you've got a full range of EQ tools available at your disposal here in Audition. And of course, lynda.com has you covered if you want some in-depth instruction on the ins and outs of EQs and filters with our course called Foundations of Audio, EQ and Filters. So be sure to check out that course for a lot more information on how to use EQs and filters.